Hi, welcome to the Conversation with Gift Patrick. If you're just joining this show for the first time, I'm your host, Gift Patrick, and today I'm going to be talking about the topic of time. You know how much value we put on time? If you don't know, how many times have you told yourself that the reason you actually didn't do something was because you didn't have time? Raise your hands. I know I've said that so many times. Do you know how you've told yourself and procrastinated so many things just because you told yourself you don't have time for those things? Or you don't call a friend, or you don't call your spouse, or your brother, or your sister, your parents? Raise your hands, because I'm guilty. I'm very, very guilty. Well, the current situation of COVID have given me the opportunity to actually study how valuable our time is. Is it really the time that is valuable, or is the decision we make, the things we choose to do with our time, that is valuable? If you've always thought your time was the most valuable thing in life, well, you are not in that boat together. A lot of people, just like myself and you, always thought time was the most valuable thing we were protecting, or we didn't have, and were the reason why we didn't do a lot of the things we wanted to do. But thanks to COVID and my isolation in just being alone and studying time, I came to realize that time isn't the most valuable thing. Time is life, but life is not the most valuable thing. A lot of people are alive but not living. The most valuable thing we have is the things we choose to do with life, which is time. The things we choose to do with our time is what is the most important thing in this life. It's more important than your life. In fact, that is your life. The choices you make, the things you choose to do, is your life. I'll give you an example. Since we've been in COVID isolation and stay home process globally and around the world, I think as for me, I've been at home for about 2 months now. And I've realized that day is the same as night. Night is the same as day. Monday is the same as Friday, the same as Saturday, the same as Sunday. What usually used to differentiate these days for me and this time and this window are the activities, the things, the schedules, what I have for Monday, planned for Friday, what I plan for Saturday and Sunday, the activities I choose to do in this particular day and time was the reason they were different. Other than that, every day is the day. It doesn't matter if it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, all over again. It's just days, it's just 24 hours, it's time. And it's the same life, it's the same person, it's the same you living through these days. So if you had a plan for Sunday and said, because it's Sunday and Monday already, I'm not going to do it on Monday till the next Sunday, that is not the time or the day that stopped you from doing that. It's your choice of not doing what you wanted to do because in your head, you are giving the excuse of time and the day. Not because there's no time, not because the days are different, because it's a Monday and those activities are what you like to do on Sunday. That's just your conscious choices, not time. Are you getting what I'm saying? You're getting it, right? You're getting the concept. So the time is valuable only because of the choices you make. What are the choices you've been making with your time? What excuses have you been making? What things have you wanted to do in your life that you've been saying there is no time for? This is a reminder that everything you want to do, you can if you choose to do it. Not because if you have the time to do it. Because eventually when you choose to do something, you realize that the time you thought you never had, you always create it. You see how people don't call you and you try to reach out to them, they talk to you and they tell you, oh, I've been so busy, I've been planning and thinking to call you, I just haven't had the time. Trust me, if you follow the pattern of those people, even when they have the time in the world, they would not call you. Not because they don't want to reach out to you, because you are not their priority. Not because they don't really have the time like they say, but because you are not as important. When things are important to you, when things when you really want to get things done, when you have a goal in mind, time is never an issue. Time is never an excuse for you not to achieve your dream, for you not to reach the goal that you have in mind, for you not to get to the point where God wants you to go, for you not to get to that dream of yours, to that plan that you've always have in mind. Time is not your obstacle. You are. Your choices are. The essence of life isn't time. The essence of life is the fulfillment, is the things you've chosen to do with that life. That's the difference between Bill Gates and myself. That's the difference between the top US president and myself. That's the difference between you and any other person. Not how much time they have. That's the difference between a child and a grown-up. You're 40 years old and you're 20 years old is not because you are older. It's because of how much you've gotten to do within those time. If you choose to be 20 years old, that is an overachiever, and you choose to be a 40 years old that is doing nothing with his or her life. Trust me, you being a 40 years old will not make you valuable as a person. The things you choose to do is what makes your life valuable, is what people will remember you for. When you die tomorrow, God forbid, when we leave this world, which is inevitable, I know nobody wants to die early, but death is inevitable. When we die, nobody's going to say, oh, he was 100 years old. Oh, that's why we love him. No. That's why we're going to miss him. No. Nobody's going to miss you. Nobody's going to remember you. Nobody's going to talk about your legacy. It's not going to be relevant because you are old or young. Your legacy is going to be remembered. You are going to be talked about because of what you did, because of the things you did with the time God gave you on earth, because of the achievements you made. It might not be financial, it might be emotional, it might be the things you did, the way you showed love to people, the time you invested in people. Let's focus on that, because that's all we have left. That's all we will have left. The things we choose to do. It's not because you live 50 years or you got to 70 or you got to 80 or 90 that your life is going to be valuable. It's not the time. It's not the timeline you were in this world. It's actually the achievement, the impact that you made in people's life. The way you changed people's life, the way you touched people's life, the way you impacted people's life. That's the most valuable thing in this life. That's the essence of life. That's what should be our focus. Whether you are in the professional world, whether you are in a spiritual world, whether you are, when I mean spiritual, whether you're a pastor, an usher, or whatever it is, you are a Muslim, whatever position you find yourself, rather than focusing and telling yourself you don't have time for people, or you don't have time to do this, or you don't have time to do that, think of the choices you can make. Think of the choices you can make with the time that you have that will be impactful to yourself, that will be impactful to the world, that will be impactful to the people around you, that will give you a legacy. Because again, time and life is not the most valuable thing we have. The choices we make, the things we choose to do with the time and the life that is given to us, is the most important thing. It's what you will be remembered for. It's what will change people's life. It's what people will remember you for. For example, if you go to an event or you travel to a different place or you are in the midst of your friends, the amount of time you can end up, if two people do that in the same space, if one spend an hour not talking to anybody in the same event, in the same space, in the same community, you spend an hour there with them, you don't talk to nobody knows you, you don't share anything, you've not done anything impactful, you leave. Someone else comes, spends 30 minutes, but within the 30 minutes of that person's being there, the person has spoken to everyone. I've asked, how are you doing? I've tried to help, I've contributed, I've made some changes, I've done. Two different people, one spent a longer time, the other spent a shorter time. Who do you think will be remembered? The one that spent an hour, or the one that spent 30 minutes trying to make a change and make a difference and impact people and get to know people? I think the answer is obvious. The one that spent 30 minutes. Is time down the limitation, or the choices and the things that was done within those time? Now you get my point. So every day as we live through this COVID isolation, try to think about the concept of time, whereby day and night is the same. What you do within day and night is what makes the difference. Monday to Sunday is the same. Whether you wake up 9 o'clock, 12 o'clock, whatever time, you are not going anywhere, you're not doing anything. Then time becomes irrelevant. Post-COVID, trust me, time is always still going to be the same thing. The only difference will be the activities you choose to do, the choices you choose to make, the people you choose to interact with, the life you choose to touch. That is the most important thing. That is what will make your life. So what are those things that you've been putting away for so long, that you've been telling yourself you don't have time to do, that you don't have time to get to? The people that are dear to your heart, that you've been wanting to tell how much you show how much you love them with. You've been wanting to show how much you love them. You've just been saying, I don't have the time yet. I don't have the resources yet. You've been giving excuses. Well, this is a wake-up call. You might not have that much time. Start making choices that will change people's life. Start doing things that with the little resources you have. Start taking a different approach. Because the time you have might be all that you have. You don't know about tomorrow, but you have today. Make good use of it. Make a different choice. Make conscious effort to impact people's life. Because when you leave, nobody's going to remember the age, the time you spent on this world. What they're going to remember is what you did with this time. How you impacted their life. How you changed their life, the things you did to make people remember you, to leave a lasting effect in people's life, whether it's your professional life, how you worked with other people, how you worked with your clients, how you made changes that led to an easier and better working space, how you made life easy to communicate, how you made things easy to communicate with you. Those are the things that people will remember you for. Whether it's your personal life, your friendship life, your spiritual life, whatever life it is that you'll be procrastinating to make an impact because you feel you don't have it all figured out. Well, take a step every day, because that's the only way you're going to achieve your goal. And you never know. Make the change now. Make those decisions now. Time is not the most important thing. The most important thing is what you do with your time. This is a conversation with Gift Patrick. If you have not seen my previous episode, there are a lot of things you want to catch up on. Check out my YouTube page, is Gift Patrick, and my Instagram page is gift_Patrick_. I will see you again in the next episode. Till then, stay blessed, and don't forget, time is not all that valuable. What you do with time is the valuable thing.